Whether you're a Class 5 rafter or just looking for a couple of laughs, these two have you covered. Welcome to Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show.
Well, happy Friday and welcome to Aaron and Zach's Entitled and Naive Rafting Show. Aaron can't make it. We have Tom Selleck with us. Thanks for joining us, Tom Selleck. What's up with the mustache, Aaron?
Good to be here. Well, as you know, but not a lot of people know, like I had that long COVID thing going for 2 months, and I couldn't do anything. I was just sleeping all the time. So this was how I kept myself entertained. I decided to grow myself a mustache because, like, I can't grow the beard; it's just too much. So I was like, oh, let's just see what a mustache looks like, because it wasn't like I was doing anything. I was just laying around.
Is that how you filled your time, growing a mustache?
I mean, I pretty much slept, so it'll come off pretty soon here, but yeah, I figured at least one show with it, you get an opportunity to enjoy it. So
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the entertainment. Appreciate it. For those of you new to the show, we do this every Friday almost every Friday at 2 p.m. where Aaron and I just chit chat. We do our best to give commentary on videos or whatever we feel like talking about, and we really enjoy when people comment. So thanks for the comment. The comments will make it fun for us. This is just a conversation Aaron and I would have anyway. And if anybody wants to get involved, please do. It's really fun. Like, subscribe, comment, and all those things. And also, this is a podcast. We have a River Talk podcast. Is a podcast we did for a while that kind of died. And we thought we'd just throw the audio up on the podcast. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you're not going to get a lot out of it. You're just going to hear us talk. You're not going to see the videos. But you can hear our banter, which, might be interesting to you. But I'd highly recommend watching the video because we'll probably watch a lot of videos today. With that, welcome. Let's do this, Aaron.
Sweet. Yeah, Zach. Yeah. All right. What do we got here?
This is the garbage retention system. And so we talked about this, I think last time you were on, we were talking about the garbage retention system, and the guy who built it.
All right, guys,
turn the audio down.
Today we're going to do a glass test.
I think you asked about, does glass work? Is that right? Weren't you saying?
Yeah, we were talking about glass because I was like, glass, really? The GRS, right? Doesn't he call this the GRS?
The garbage retention system.
So he's gonna put some glass in his bag. That just looks like a regular dry bag.
It looks like one, but it's better because it has one-way trash valve. And I think we're going to find out, well, I already know, I've seen this, that if you put glass in here and crush it, that the glass probably won't break through the fabric. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool, but really he should be like running into a wall with it up against his body to see if he gets stabbed by it.
No.
Because like that's in the boat, you're going to get thrown into it and you'd get hit by it. And he's usually like using his foot. He should use his hand then. Right, because like I'm not that worried about the boat. I'm worried about people getting thrown into it and hitting it and getting cut.
Yeah, but that was concrete. I think if there's a full bottle in there and you hit yourself between the bottle and a raft, not concrete, the bottle's gonna be fine.
But if there's one bottle, but if there's like 6 bottles in there, the bottles are gonna break each other.
Okay, first of all, let me just tell you
clearly, like he put a 6-pack in there.
Yeah. Let me tell you my real feelings. We shouldn't be drinking on the river. There's no reason to bring bottled beer in the river because, I mean, they make great canned beer now. Like there should not be glass there. But just in case there is glass and you're picking up litter, for example, this is what you do with it.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be a little worried about someone getting thrown into it. I mean, it seems like your best option, I'll say.
Look, he even says, I do not condone glass in the river. Boom, done.
Yeah. All right. I mean, it looks well built. It looks like a really good idea, I will say.
Yeah.
That's
I think
impressive.
maybe I'm not going to condone people drinking and boating. But if you're picking up litter, like doing a river cleanup, that might be a good thing.
What happens if you're drinking your glass container of Snapple?
There you go, Snapple. Do people still drink Snapple?
I don't know. Whatever your Perrier water or whatever whatever
Aaron,
glass bottles you get.
Wasn't Snapple like a Rush Limbaugh thing? Wasn't Snapple a big advertiser on Rush Limbaugh?
I wouldn't know that. I really didn't listen to Rush back in the Snapple days.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, well, if you're drinking your Snapple, yeah, you can bring a bunch of Snapples and put them in your garbage retention system. Yeah, maybe he'll test it now with a person in a raft throwing their chest at it.
Yeah, because I mean, I could see that being dangerous. You know, people getting cut and like throwing against.
That's why you don't bring glass on the river. That's why he doesn't condone it. But it's good to know that if you had to bring glass out, you could.
Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, here's what I have next for you. This is we did the IRF course for a little while ago, and I flew a drone over one of the scenarios. And for those of you that don't know, an IRF course is an International Rafting Federation guide and trip leader course where the guide part is 3 days of assessments like throwback, flipping, whatever. The next 2 days we do trip leader assessments where we just set up these pretend scenarios and we allow people to solve the scenarios. So it's a way to test your decision making and your ability to be a good trip leader. And at the end of your scenario, you get an award like class 3, class 4, whatever. So I took this video out there and I showed Steve in the last show. So for some of you, this will be like, oh, Zach, you talked about this last show. But we used a dummy, Aaron. We used an unconscious swimmer dummy to make these harder. Do you see where it got pinned?
I can't see on the video very well. Can you describe where it is?
Do you see it now?
Oh, on the rock right there? Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Wow. That's full on.
Yeah. So we had a raft. I'm not showing the whole video. We had a raft get pinned. And the safety kayakers could have just solved the pinned raft. So I had them throw out the unconscious swimmer to like remove the safety kayakers from the scenario.
So they threw out the safety kayak and then the safety kayak got stuck in that rock?
No, threw out the unconscious swimmer.
Yeah, threw out the unconscious swimmer. And then the unconscious swimmer got stuck in the rock like that.
Yeah,
just
on its own.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it made it really interesting. I was expecting them to chase it down like half a mile and get it to shore. But this made a really interesting scenario for the safety kayakers.
All right. So we're watching this. So what's the?
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, dude, relax, Aaron.
Let's get going, man.
You're always in such a hurry. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's this debate that Steve and I had that I want to have with you because Steve and I disagreed on the last show. First of all, when you have a boat stuck on a rock, do you like to leave a boat upstream?
I mean, sure. It depends on the situation. Depends on the river we're running and what's going on. I would say, like, yeah, ideally that's nice, but I'll say it depends on the person stuck, where they're stuck, how they're stuck, what's going on. And I would say, like, rock garden on the Tuolumne is a classic example where you got that 3-hour window of water, and you're trying to make go, and there's people waiting, and there's a lot going on. It's like, no, just play through, and then that person will get the boat off, depending on what's going on. But I would say, yeah, in general, that seems optimal to have a boat upstream for multiple reasons. I think the boat upstream,
multiple reasons.
You can flag down other boats from other trips to let them know, hey, hold on, somebody's stuck. You know, if something worse does happen, like, I mean, if it's a 2-boat trip, I'd rather have a boat downstream than a boat upstream, if that makes sense. If I only had one other boat, I'd rather have it be downstream protection.
Yeah.
But if there's multiple, yeah, it sounds great to have one upstream there. I mean, somehow someone gets left on the rock. We've all seen that happen before. Or someone swims and gets stuck someplace else and they have to go rescue him. It's way easier to have a raft upstream to help out. So what was the disagreement between you two?
I mean, I think I am on your page on this. Steve really feels like an upstream. He referred to having an upstream boat as being like gold because you can't, once they're downstream, you can't get them back upstream.
Totally.
You know, he's like, it's really nice. Like I said, well, you can't always do that. He's like, you can't always have gold either. Like it's a currency. You know, you can't always have an upstream boat, but he really, really was firm about wanting a boat upstream. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's nice, but it's also nice to get the trip moving, you know, like with a window of water on the Tuolumne, for example. You don't want to just like play through and figure it out sometimes. His point is that boat can come down, and let's say those swimmers are on the rock, they could jump in the boat as it floated by.
Well, it's been done. I think when you think of commercial rafting trips, most of the guests on the trip you wouldn't want jumping off a rock onto a boat. If you're doing private boating, you know, and you're like with your friends and you're doing something harder, Yeah, you could definitely do that. Jump off the rock onto the boat. I would say I'd be more inclined to go get my boat stuck a little bit and then have them climb onto the boat or something like that. If it's a rocky thing like this, just go get stuck and get them, or catch the eddy behind, or do something like that. But I'll also say I think that's really challenging. In some ways, I think it's safer to go with a throwback from shore. And this is my favorite use of a throwback, is to throw the throwback to someone on the rock, have them catch that on the rock, and then ferry them into shore, depending on where you're pulling them in from. Like there, you could probably do it from the river right side. You could ferry them in and they wouldn't have the bad swim. And that seems way less exposed than having to try to jump into a raft as it comes by, particularly multiple people jumping into a raft at the same time. That seems gnarly. But
and why does it seem gnarly?
I've been there and done that, and had multiple of us jump in, and you can definitely do it with the right people. But yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. Upstream safety is nice. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice if you have the resources. Let's say you have 3 boats, and one gets stuck. Would you put one upstream, one downstream, or would you rather have 2 downstream?
I think it depends on the swim and what's downstream. If there's a huge pool downstream, yeah, one downstream's fine, because no one's gonna get past that pool. If it's high water on the Tuolumne, or if it's something like that where there's a chance of swims, or I'd say Cherry Creek, I think, is an example. Like, I don't really care if there's a raft upstream of us on Cherry Creek in general. Like, it's rare. We're not going to rescue anyone in the middle of a rapid. That's a spot where I'd probably rather have 2 downstream. There might be access from shore a little easier from up top or something like that. There might be a spot where you could rescue someone on a rock, but really, really rare. It's not that convenient.
I think you and I are on the same page. I think Steve is on a different page. So Steve, if you went back and watched it, Steve was like, man, having a boat upstream is an asset. You really want that boat upstream. He really liked it. And he really wanted people to jump into the moving boat.
I do like to have the boat upstream. I agree with him. I think it is a huge asset.
It's a nice, I agree. It's a nice to have.
And I'm going to
say this, limited assets.
In general, usually if someone gets stuck in front of me and I'm the boat behind them, I'm going to wait. I'll catch a little eddy and wait and make sure they get off and then go. That's isn't that what you usually do too?
Yeah, like the boat on the river right over there.
Yeah, but but I would, if I were in that boat up above, I think that boat up above shouldn't have passed them.
Oh, so you would have waited. You would have waited up above.
Yeah, I think that boat up above. If there's boats blowing downstream, I think that boat. Sometimes you can't. And sometimes it's I got to keep going.
They eddied out on the left. But there's not great downstream safety right now. I'm more concerned about downstream safety right now than having a boat upstream.
Well, I don't think that boat on River right there is doing that much. It's kind of nice in case someone falls out there. Yeah, I think actually that's a good spot. They're far enough downstream. If someone falls out, they can get out to them in time, and they keep them from taking that nasty swim through that next rapid. They can pick them up.
Here was the debate we had last time. And I just love getting your thoughts about it. Having a boat upstream is certainly nice. It's sure, but when you have limited resources, I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather have downstream safety.
Well, did Steve say he'd rather have upstream than downstream?
He just really valued the upstream boat. He's like, man, it's like gold having a boat up there. You leaving one boat back is just really nice to have. And I'm like, it's nice to have, but I don't prioritize it. I think Steve prioritizes it.
I would say going back to the Tuolumne example, which all 3 of us have spent a lot of trips there. If you have a gear boat, you send the gearboats first, so you have boats behind to help them, right? We used to do that all the time. Get the gearboats.
Oh, yeah. Because the rock garden and the gearboat's probably get stuck, a paddle boat and come down. We talked about
come down and help them from above, and that's the. So,
but for me on the Tuolumne, if I'm in a paddle boat, I'm going to eddy out on the. I might go first because I'm thinking just move. I'm also into efficiency. The more we wait for everybody, we'll never get to camp. I've arrived at camp way too late. I've been stuck out overnight enough times to know, if the trip doesn't keep moving, time doesn't just stop because we're being inefficient. I'm a big fan of keeping the trip moving.
Yeah, I think that you and I both, I think, value that greatly.
And if you have 3 hours of water to swallow me, you have 3 hours of mistake time and lunch. So I'm like, I don't want to waste time in rock garden. So I might run the paddle boats first, but I'm going to eddy one of them out.
Most rivers, you're not on a window of water. Most rivers,
but still on the Middle Fork, if you're doing 24 miles and it's 1.9.
Yeah, it gets dark at 10 o'clock at night on the Middle Fork. You're not going to run out of light.
you're not going to run a light, but you got to get to camp before 6.
Why?
Because people want to eat. People are on vacation. It depends if you're on a private trip or commercial trip, right? But like people don't want to like. We need to be efficient as guides so that people don't get to camp at 6 and have dinner at 10.
And I agree, but I think, how do I say this? You shouldn't be getting stuck enough that you're concerned at 6. This getting stuck in one spot. If you're getting, Zach, you got other problems. If you're getting stuck so much, that's a problem.
I'm just about like, I'm a fan of efficiency. Let's just keep the train moving.
And I think that's an important aspect of it. But I think sometimes you can get ahead of yourself and be like, well, anyone can, where you're like, hey, we need to keep moving. We need to keep moving. When in fact, like, hey, go slow to go fast. We have to remember, go slow to go fast as well. And I think that's the balance. And so
I'm with you. And I make the mistake of going fast and like that slows us down. And I have to say, let's do the slow thing. But I also have to keep the train moving downstream. We can't, if I can get that boat that's up there, if I know that boat's gonna get unstuck, I'm gonna tell that boat, just get downstream so when they're off, we can go.
Well, and I think, sorry, go ahead.
Well, also, like, if that third boat gets stuck, like the second boat comes off and then the third boat gets stuck, it's like, oh, come on. Like, let's run those getting stuck.
Well, and I think that's like, if you know the run well and everyone's going to get stuck, it's just like, let's just all go and just get through this thing. And people are going to get stuck and keep going. And I think particularly if I'm the third boat, right, and the second boat gets stuck and there's a fourth boat behind me and it's a really rocky technical thing, then just keep going and just play through. If you have a good way to play through, just play through and keep going. And there, I definitely agree with it. And I think that's what bothers me more sometimes is that where everyone tries to eddy out and catch all these junky eddies because somebody's stuck and there's like an easy route around them. Just go around him. Let's not and eddy out at the bottom. And I think things like that, I feel like are more of a safety issue in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, of course, be safe, but like, let's be efficient because sometimes time is an issue. Kayaking here in the gorge, like in the winter, it gets dark at 5. Sometimes I'll put on it at 3. It's like, hey, we can't goof around too much because that dark will become an issue. But I think going back to the Tuolumne example, Rock Garden, I will run a paddle boat down first. I'm going to eddy out my paddle boat where people get stuck, let everybody go through, and then go through last to make sure they got through well. But I'm not going to sit at the very top of the rapid and wait. I'm going to at least do the first part and then be right there. I can jump out, get them unstuck and move. So the idea you had of getting stuck in the rocks here is what I would try to do is like, let me be what I'm going to call position of maximum usefulness. Let me be the most useful position, not just waiting up top. Let me find an eddy or a spot I can be useful that's not just back. Yeah. But I think Steve, really likes the idea of people jumping on a moving boats. And that's a debate we got into. And I was like, I'm not a big fan of jumping on moving boats.
No, me neither.
And he's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like, just people can get hurt that way. And he's like, well, they can get hurt other ways. We had a big debate about it. But that gets me to the other part. Let's say those 3 people were stuck on a rock and you had a boat upstream. What's your technique for getting them off that rock?
Well, I think the question is, can you get the boat close to them, confidently get the boat close to them and secure it in a place that's really close to them?
The orange boat?
No. Like if they're stuck, let's just say those people are stuck on the
rock. Let's say the boat's gone. The boat came off. It flipped. The boat's gone.
Exactly.
It's 3 people there on a rock. That's what we got to. If those 3 people got on a rock, here are your choices. Your choices are 1, have a boat come down, they jump in it. 2, throw a throwback from river left and pull them to river left one at a time. Or 3, just have them swim the whole rapid.
Well, I think there's other options there too.
Okay, what are the other options?
Well, I mean, this is why you want someone upstream so they can get to either side, because I think pulling in from river right is going to be easier. That's a long toss with the throw bag there to get
from river right.
From river left, that's a long toss to the throw bag. That's a long toss.
Somebody's walking up to the throw bag right now. Somebody has that idea. Actually, I don't think that's the trip leader candidate. He's just talking to him.
Yeah, but I think that's a long throw. I think the river right throw looks shorter.
It's not.
And I think you can pull it in. But I think the other options that you didn't discuss is like go down and get the boat stuck someplace nearby and get them over to the raft. Like I think that's a great move. It's just go get the boat stuck and whatever, you're stuck on a rock and then you
I'm with you. A really good guide could do that.
Or catch an eddy behind it, the rocks, and have them go to there. I think
You could do that, but
those are the ideal.
Most people don't have that ability. Most people can't just get a boat stuck there and have people hop in and then get it unstuck. Like the ability to get a boat purposely stuck in a hard rapid in a way that can be unstuck is a high level skill. And I don't think everybody has that skill.
That's a good
asking
point.
a lot.
But I think everyone doesn't have the throwback skills either.
Oh yeah, that's my point. Is if you throw the throw bag, here comes another boat. So he was saying, okay, there was a fourth boat here. They now jump into that moving boat, and I'm like, no, that's insane.
I think if there's one person, that's a good move. I think multiple gets a lot harder.
I don't know if one person,
because you could leave the front open. You could have everyone move back in the paddle boat, have space up front, just say, hey, hop in.
If you have the room in the paddle boat.
I think it's a pretty good option, and depending on the swim, I think it's a really good option. I agree with certain places it's better to swim. I mean, if were those boats where was a huge pool right down over the yellow and the orange boat, let them swim. Then
it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the end of the rapid, just jump in and we'll get you.
But then
my point is,
I've also seen people who don't want to jump in. They're like, no, I'm not going to jump in.
Yeah.
And you're like, so.
I was playing a little bit of devil's advocate, but I was like, this isn't that bad of a swim.
No, it's not.
I think I would personally rather swim this rapid, but I'm very comfortable swimming, than jump in a moving boat. Jumping in a moving boat, to me, there's a slight chance I'm going to get hurt. Swimming this rapid, of course, we just saw that dummy get pinned on the left, so we know it's dangerous on the left. But as long as you can go right,
you're gonna get beat up. I think you're right that you're more likely to get seriously hurt trying to jump into a raft. But I think you're even more likely to get bruised if you swim the rapid. Like, does that make sense? Like 1 out of 100 times you can get seriously hurt jumping the rapid.
I mean, I don't know.
I would say one out of 3 times you swim that rapid, you're gonna come out with some bruises on your butt.
I've stand-up paddleboard this particular rapid like 50 plus times. I've swam the whole thing top to bottom probably 10 times. So like I'm not scared.
You can read the water and be in the deep spots. Those people are going to hit rocks. They're going to drop.
I think that's a difference. If it's a commercial guest, we probably don't want them to swim. But if it's a competent guide or boater,
even a competent guide, I think it's hard. I think a lot of them don't have the experience swimming that you have, and I think that's something we have to remember. So they might, and I think it depends on the person. And I think that's where you got to look at. Okay, do you want to swim? You want to throw bag? Well, what do you want to do?
So 3 people stuck here. What your choice? I'm going to give you 3 choices: jump in a moving boat, throw back from the left, and the right's not an option. You can't. I don't know if you can tell. The right's not an option. Throw back from the left, moving boat, or swim the rapid. What are you going to go with?
Well, I'd say if I can throw back from the left, I would do that. That'd be my first choice, just because it's pretty controlled and looks easy to pendulum them in. It's a good spot. So if I can get the throwback to them from the left shore, then I would do that as my
What's your second choice? So between moving boat and swim, what's your choice?
Probably swimming with 3 of them.
Just tell all 3 like jump in, we'll catch you at the bottom.
Do you have them
try to swim to the left, like swim to the left bank, or just swim the main channel of the next rapid?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it. It depends on who they are. And that's what makes me uncomfortable. That's why I like the throwbagging best. But having 3 people try to jump in the raft at the same time, somebody's not going to make it. It's going to be messy. Somebody, he's going to be banging around. I'm not that excited about that. I might have people swim also and be ready with the throwback to bag them and pendulum in if I can get the bag all the way out there and I probably have them swim to the left shore and be ready to like bag them and try to pull them in and have rafts downstream ready.
Like try to get them to swim to the left shore, but have downstream safety just in case they don't make it.
Yeah.
I think I like this debate. I liked having it with Steve and I like talking about it with you because there's not a simple, clean answer. It's like all 3 options are decent.
No, they all would work, and I think it's on a case by case basis, and that's the thing is like you've got these different tools in your tool belt, and you're like, well, which one's going to work best here for the situation right now? Like if it's freezing cold out and everyone is like frozen and they're not in dry suits, then the jump in the front of the raft, everyone's in wetsuits is probably your best option. You're like, we don't need to get people in the river again. You're like, nah, that's not so good. So
we ran an Oahe trip last week in the middle of a snowstorm. It snowed 5 inches in Hood River while they were on an Oahe trip in Southern Oregon. It snowed on them every day. And I was talking to the guides about it. I met them at Takeout and the guides were saying, yeah, if somebody fell out, we would be immediately pulling over and starting a fire. It was that cold. I mean, they rarely got above 40 the whole trip.
Wow.
And it was like so cold that if anybody fall out, that's an immediate emergency. And we'd have to heat them up quickly. Luckily, it was only 500 CFS too, so luckily it was low water. But high, yeah, gotta pay attention to that one. All right, cool. Thanks for that one. Do you want to? There we go. We got some comments.
Everyone's liking the mustache. See, maybe I need to keep it, Zach. Well,
yeah, keep it.
When my wife doesn't like the mustache, it's definitely going soon.
All right, so I have some videos today. While you've been away, somebody sent me a Selway video of Carnage, and they just keep popping up in my feed, and I keep finding them. I thought, it'd be fun to do a show since you spend so much time there. Turn the volume down. A show of just like Carnage on the Selway, because there's a lot of videos of it.
Well, I mean, I think this is a classic one for it too. Is it's like people don't get to see the river very often, so they don't know it well. They get to do like one trip down there, and then they've been waiting for years, and so the water's high, and they still want to go, and they push.
Did you see how fast that flip happened?
Oh yeah.
Did you even see that?
No, I didn't, because my
Your screen small? Let me make the screen
bigger. The screen just flickering some.
I'll switch to this version. Look at this. I mean, I don't know if I can see because I'm on the big screen right now, but a raft gets through, and that Avon gets through, and you look over, and the next boat down just hits a wave, and boom, over. Man, that's just a wave.
Do it again. You know what? We got to get ourselves off of there. Do it again, because our little faces were in the way on our screens. So show it again. No, that's a big feature, Zach. That's a really big feature down there at the bottom right. Yeah. It's called double drop, and that's the second drop. Is a big drop down there at the bottom, and that's that's the feature you want to miss. Usually, I mean, you can go right of it. You can sneak right of it like the person, but usually we would pull left of it, like a hard pull to the left of it, like as you come in the top. They're like that person's kind of doing it, but I do more of a downstream angle.
Would you be like 90 degrees? We talked about angles before, but would you do 90 degrees the current? Just pull away.
A little down, more downstream, because you have to break a lateral at the top. You kind of hit some eddy water-esque stuff. Oh wow! Oh, nice job.
They got back on the
upside down boat.
Yeah, I think that's
that's great. Yeah, get it back.
Nice takeaway. Like, you definitely getting on top of a boat like that is important.
Now the problem is, if there's a gear boat, this person's probably not going to be able to flip it over by themselves. We'll see what happens. Oh,
they have this cute little.
That's
he's tying those cute little. Yeah, which is surprising. Usually the airs don't flip. I mean, in general,
everything will flip in that hole. That thing is. Oh, the classic. They haven't solved this.
They have the cute little NRS flip dangles.
But the flip dangle, I'm gonna say, Zach, they're kind of nice here, because then he's got someone else can hold a separate one. They can be spread out, not holding the same line.
What if they both had flip lines?
Which is nice,
like they should. What if they both carry?
Yeah,
flip lines?
But like not everyone on a trip has a flip line, right?
I mean, if they're guides, I think they should. That's an opinion.
I think
everybody should be carrying a flip line.
Oh yeah. Now they're going down. The
problem with the flip dangles is the ropes, and you can't. I know it's dangerous to make a loop out of, like, using a loop. That's a potential entrapment. But if you can make a loop, you can really pull back and hold on to the loop.
Yeah.
They're trying to hold on to wet rope right now with gloves on. And the only way to do it is to wrap your hand around the rope, which is dangerous. And so this is where I'm not a big fan of these flip dangles, is because it's really hard to grip them, especially in cold water.
I'm going to say,
flip line, you can make a loop.
Yeah, I would have flipped the boat back up there. I would not have waited around like they are.
Oh yeah, because you're comfortable swimming.
These are nice waves. It's a clean wave train. I would flip it and start getting back in, because around the corner is another rapid, and who knows what's happening down here. You mess up again.
You're saying when I first saw this, I thought the same thing. Okay, I watched this and said, okay, I don't want to flip it there. There's like a little bit of a hole, but as soon as it's deep, right now I'm flipping it. Anywhere here. Let's just get that thing flipped. There's kayakers everywhere.
Yeah.
Kayakers. You have tons of safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's plenty of time here, and there's plenty of time to climb back in the raft, or you're holding onto the side of the raft, but the boat's upright. Yeah, I particularly on this river, it's bank full, it's motoring while Poots is around the corner, another big rap, and then Ladle's right after it. It's just like, get that boat back over. And like, let's, because you flip the boat back over, maybe an oar's busted, maybe you
Exactly.
can't, maybe a pin's broken or something like that,
An
and
oar
you can't row
tower
the boat to
bent.
shore. Yeah, the tower bent, and so then all of a sudden you're gonna need someone else to rescue and pull you to shore, and then you run out of time, and it just seems like yeah, I like to get stuff done sooner rather than later, I'd say.
I'm finding, Thomas, there's people really are afraid of swimming, and that's good. It's good to be afraid of swimming a little bit, but I think.
But that's one that we just looked at is like, you should not be on this river if you're not willing to swim that last rapid.
So see, they're wrapping their hands around. See that. Flip dangles, man. I'm telling you, flip dangles.
Once again, this is why we would have tried it up top, because
you're gonna miss it a couple times.
Yeah.
But like, again, they're not. That one guy's not wearing gloves. Wrapping around his hand again. Like again, I recognize he has to wrap it around his hand to get it over, because
you don't have to wrap it around your hand though. We can talk about that in a second. Like, okay. You don't have to wrap.
Yeah, there is that technique you can use. Okay, there's a technique you can use if you know how to use it.
It's not that hard of a technique.
It's not that hard. You just need to know it. But this is where, like, I feel like a loop is way better than just a straight string.
But if you grab it so your thumb's facing away from the end, and then you can pinch it, it works. That's
something you know how to do because you trained on it. But the average person doesn't learn that technique, or if they have, they forget it in the moment.
Here, I'm going to show for a second. I mean, everyone probably knows this. I want to show me.
Hold on. When this video's over. Okay, there we go. Okay, stop. I'll show you. Right. There you go.
So, like, if I'm like, this isn't the best rope, but if I'm pulling on the rope, I just pinch it like this, right? And then you've got friction. So the loose end goes up with your thumb, and then like that, and then your hands don't slide. And you can do it twice. I mean, that's the thing, Zach. You don't have to wrap it around. You can just.
You don't. You're right. You're right. I shouldn't have said that. There's never an excuse to wrap a rope around your hand. There's no excuse for it. I think in that case, when you need to flip that boat back over in some haste, and all you have is a rope, not everybody knows that technique, and they never practiced it. And so, yeah, man, there's a bunch of comments we should get to. I'm jumping to about. It's not that bad of a swim.
Well, I think that's the thing, is it depends on the person. Some people are like, I'd rather jump in. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think that's a bad choice. Yeah.
I had a friend go in the room at Doom at Westwater. Do you know that? It said skull on the right.
Yeah.
With the other swimmers downriver. Because of who it was, I knew he had to get the room of doom swimmer first. I guess I'm confused. Oh, there's a whole bunch.
No, you're saying like there's people going downstream in the room. He's like, I got to take care of the room of doom. So there's other people be probably fine.
Yeah, because you can't leave them behind.
Yeah, you can't. And then by the time you get down and get those other people and come back up to the room and doom swimmer, that'd be a mess.
Oh, and that, I mean, if you're a boat behind, you can't pass swimmers. Like, especially if you're in a dead end, like the room of doom. What?
If you're the lead boat, you can.
Well, that's true. I mean, you want to be.
If you're the lead boat, yes. If you're the sweet boat, probably.
I mean, if you can't leave people that are stuck, you can't pass them. That's for sure. Like the room of doom is a place where if you pass them, you can't go back. So you can't leave people in dead ends. But most rivers, you can just walk back if you need to.
Yeah, but I think it depends on where you are in the boat order, right? If you're if you're the sweet boat, yeah, you shouldn't pass swimmers, and you shouldn't leave them behind. If you're the lead boat, you shouldn't let people get out in front of you.
So what he had us sounds like is one swimmers went into the room of doom. So have you done Westwater? I can't remember.
I haven't, but we've watched a lot of video on it.
Yeah, so like at higher water, especially, room of doom is like hard to get out of. So it looks like one swimmer went to room of doom, and other swimmers went down the main channel. Right? Which ones do you get?
Well, my question is how many boats do you have in your group? I think that's
let's say there's one. Let's say there's one.
Then I think it depends on who the swimmers are.
You have to go to the room of doom because you can't leave them behind.
So if your wife is one of the ones going downstream, you're going to go rescue the room of doomers before your wife?
Well, I mean, it's always that thing too. Like, if you're going to pick the people based on a relationship with them, yeah. But you could be leaving the people in the room of doom to die.
You could be leaving the people that go downstream to die too, Zach.
I know, but I mean, these are the fun debates. If it's
I
one
think
person,
I think this
you
is
can't
why
go back and get.
this is why you
remember-
don't do it, Zach. This is why you don't do a one boat trip.
Oh, for sure.
This is why, like, even 2 boat trips, like, ideally you have more than that. So
Yeah, no, for sure. This is a theoretical. But the Room of Doom person, if you leave them behind, you're not getting them back. You're just not getting them back. Where the people that are going to the main channel consume to shore, like you'll eventually catch up with them probably. But also, putting a raft in the Room of Doom is not a good idea. Sometimes you could go in the Room of Doom and then not get out of the Room of Doom in the raft. It's a tough one. It's a tough question. He did not have the skill swim out. Me or my swim team, my good friends, I wouldn't have worried about them. No.
Yeah,
that's interesting debate.
Yeah. Totally agree, Andrew. And I think that there's a lot of variables that you've got to factor in and make the best decision on that day in that situation with that group of people. And it may even vary day to day, so yeah.
It's interesting. We've been talking lately about offering rescue classes here in Hood River. And, I'm kind of frustrated with rescue sometimes because we spend so much time in like Swiftwater rescue talking about stuff that doesn't apply to river runners. And the stuff you want to teach is this kind of stuff, but it is super situation dependent. You can't really have principles for what to do. You can't say, well, it's really hard to have like exactly how you do rescues. So much of it is judgment based. Like I got to make a decision based on, is there 2 people here, 1 person here, this boat coming down. Like every situation is different and the people are different and the weather is different. It's really hard to just teach rescue because there's some very basic principles. But I think some of it, this is my belief right now, is like these scenarios are great because they allow us to like touch on nuance. Like doing these scenarios allows us to like have these nuanced talks, and then us talking about them now, we can flush out some nuance. I mean, I think that's, and just more discussions about things, because it's really hard to like have a whiteboard up and say, follow these principles to be better rescuers.
No, I think when it comes down to the end of the day, a lot of it is experience. It's like sport, like basketball, right? Like it is a sport, rafting is a sport, but like basketball, like are you going to be able to, like, okay, I never really played basketball. Are you going to be able to teach me to play basketball for the Golden State Warriors next week to go out there and play with them?
No, but you're going to be but you got to learn something you have to learn something to go play.
But the rules that you would give to me to play are much different than the rules that you would give somebody advanced to play. And I think that's one of the problems, is because their knowledge and the nuance of it, like you got to keep it simple.
You got to keep it simple. Yeah, you got to keep it simple, but I think if you're going to teach people rescue, you have to keep it simple, but recognize that there's a lot of gray area and there's a lot of, what's the word I've been using? Not debates, something like that. There's a lot of, I don't know, just like you could see either way. Like they both go, like we had a scenario where we set up one boat that was stuck with swimmers on it. The guide had fallen out and gone around the corner. So when the trip leader showed up, there was a boat with guests on it stuck in the top of a rapid, and the guide was gone. What do you do? Do you focus on the guests who were stuck on the rock at the top of a class 4, or do you go down and get the guide who swam the rapid?
Well, Zach, I think that's what's so great about those scenarios. And I think swift water courses would be better off if they did more. If it was a rafting swift water course, they did a lot of rafting scenarios with rafts involved. Because, like, let's be honest, this is one of the biggest problems with the swift water classes is the majority of a swift water class is not spent using the tool that your best tool for raft rescue is a raft, right? If you take most swift water classes, some don't even have rafts. You don't even see a raft. Like, how can you do swiftwater rescue for rafting without having a raft? That seems crazy to me.
Well, it's not swiftwater rescue for rafting, but this we don't need to get into like classes.
But I think that's a key aspect of it, is what you just said, is having. I think
dilemma. The word dilemma. There's dilemmas I want to set up in these where you have to be like, oh man, there's some tough choices here. Do I throw the throw bag? Do we swim? Do we run a boat by? Let's at least be put in a situation where we have the dilemma, and then try something, and then talk about it afterwards. That's how we learn. a lot of the nuance. So the dilemma was, I want to go back to this one because I want to know what you think. I set this up. I made this a really hard one for one of the best candidates. Again, he shows up. There's a boat with only guests in it, stuck at the top of a long class 4 rapid, and the guide swam, gone around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Do you stay with the guests and take care of them, or do you leave them alone without a guide and go chase the guide?
One boat. You're a 1 boat trip.
It's a 3 boat trip, and you're showing up with 2 boats, so you can leave 1 boat behind, but there's only 1 guide for 2 boats.
Yeah, no,
and
you send. I send. Not a second. You send. This is going to be interesting, Zach. This is something that I don't even know if I should say here right now, but another guide is part of your team. That's your family. You look out for the guides first. If a flip happens, the first person I'm making sure is okay is where's that guide for that other boat? Because like multiple reasons. And if we're talking on a commercial ship, oh yeah, guide first.
That's a debate we should have as a community, because that's certainly a tough one.
Hey, Zach, who do firefighters look out for first? Who do cops look out for first? Like you got to take care of yourselves first before you can help other people.
I was listening to a podcast last night about business, and it was talking about Rob Kelleher. Kelleher, he was the CEO of Southwest Airlines, and Rob said, "Employees first."
Yeah.
If you take care of the employees take care of the customers will take care of the profits will take care of the shareholders, and they have the highest customer satisfaction ratings because of that. Like, don't put the customer first, put the employee first. And so I think there's something to be said for that. As guides, we have a professional responsibility for the safety of our passengers. Yeah,
we do. We also have a professional responsibility for the safety of our team.
Yeah.
And this isn't the nice part to talk about, but at the end of the day, it's like if your wife falls out, it's like that's your friend, that's your teammate. Like, yeah, you need to make sure they're okay. And particularly that one's an easy one though. I'll say that's not even a hard decision.
Yeah.
Like you send someone after the guide. That to me is like a no-brainer. Like there's ones where it's more complicated, where you can set up the scenario where it's more it's a little trickier.
I mean, it depends on the situation. If it's somebody who knows a badass swimmer and they're just solid, it's like, oh man, Johnny fell out again, but he's he can handle it. You might be like, well, we'll stay here. But if it's somebody who's like, oh man, they're kind of weak, you still go after them?
I think if they go down around the corner and you can't see where they are, yeah, you go down there and you find them.
So you're the trip leader, you show up on the boat. Who goes down, the trip leader or the other boat?
I think it depends on the scenario. I'd probably send the other boat. I'd be like, you go. If they were comfortable enough that like they're not gonna go flip and they're a decent guy, then I'd be like,
so go. The other thing is what happens. I mean, now that one boat's exposed. So what if that boat flips?
Well, that's what I say.
There's a lot of risk involved.
It depends on what's downstream, Zach.
Yeah.
It depends on who the guy. It depends on who the guide is.
That's why if it's a trip leader or you send a trip leader the guide, like
the other thing
leader, you have a high level of confidence you're gonna make it. If I send guide, I don't know. I'm like, oh man, I'm putting guide or guide. You kind of know who's like, okay, guide. I'm sending them down to go into the wild.
I think we're getting a little into the weeds here.
This is what the show is, Aaron. Do you forgot what we even do here?
No, I mean, I think we're in the little weeds on this one. Like when the guide how do I say this? If the guide goes around the corner, right, you're gonna send a raft after them, and the people who are stuck on the rock, they're fine, they're stable, so you're not worried about them. That's not an immediate.
I'm not worried about the people on the rock. I'm worried about the one boat going solo. More.
Well, then send both boats down. Then send both boats down and leave them on the rock and say, "We'll be back. Don't move." Where you go, like that's what I mean. It depends on how hard it is down around the corner, because usually people are stuck in the tough part of the rapid, and usually past that. And then you can keep an eye on the other raft and see if the other raft's okay. And it depends, like, is down around the corner a pool or is it another rapid?
Okay. I'm going to tell you the rest of the scenario because I left the part out just for debate. There was a safety kayaker. So what do you do in that case?
Well, then you're sending the safety kayaker to go by themselves too. Do you do that?
That's what safety kayakers do. Safety kayakers are the one craft where it's like, go by yourself and figure this out. I think. Well, in this case, okay, let me tell you what happened. In this case, the trip leader candidate went ahead by himself on his own and had the safety kayaker stay back with the raft, with the other raft and the raft.
That's a great idea. And the safety car can guide the raft.
Yeah, it ended up
and then they can put their kayak on this raft and the safety car can guide the raft. That's a great idea.
That's how
by far the best.
Yeah, I mean, I designed it to have a dilemma. So like I see both options. One, just send the safety kayaker down and find the guide, and you have 2 rafts. You have 3 rafts and 2 guides. That's how one way to solve it. And the safety kayaker has to walk back up. And it was a hard walk back up. It wasn't easy walk back up, by the way. It was up and over cliffs and stuff. Or a raft goes down and the safety kayaker can jump in the raft and guide it down. Like there's 2 solutions, and it's an interesting, like it's a dilemma. That's my point, is it's a dilemma. And I feel like a lot of the rescue stuff, that's not a dilemma that's taught in a rescue class, right? That's a dilemma that we can teach by doing these scenarios or by talking about it like right now, having debates like
that's my point, is I think those rescue courses will be a lot better suited with more of those types of scenarios. Instead of here's a scenario to practice your foot entrapment skills that you learned, or here's a scenario to practice this skill you learned, because those are the type of scenarios they usually do. And I don't find those scenarios, they're first of all not that applicable to most of the scenarios we're dealing with on the river.
Yeah.
And they're not that well. And I think there's multiple things from doing the scenarios. I think the rescue classes need to experience being in the water. I think people need to learn what they can and can't do in the water, and what the water will do and will not do to people. You know what I mean? Through exposure, so they understand, yeah, these people can swim this. They're going to be scared, but they're going to be fine. But you have to spend enough time in the water to know and swim enough different spots to know those things. So I think that's a key aspect, is comfort in the water. And I think if I were to design a rescue class, a whitewater rescue class, I would focus on that, my in-water skills for self-rescue, because I think that's important. And the second thing is do like the scenarios that you talked about and adjusting them to the level of the people, but figuring out what are like the key things to be thinking about is downstream safety, those basic ideas, and having those ideas come up in these, and so you can touch on them.
There's always, a lot of times we'll put counting heads in there, like downstream safety, like just make sure everybody says count when we're stressed out. And I love to put dilemmas in there where there's just like, man, both work, but they have pros and cons.
Yeah.
All right, we have comments.
A lot of comments.
Yeah, lots of comments. You cannot ditch Flipline before I can. Oh, Rick.
Oh, I bet Rick.
You're wrong.
No, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No.
The dangle lines take way longer.
Your dangle line, you have to find your dangle line. You have to undo the little thingy. First, find it. I watch people all the time try to find their dangle lines. They're all fidgeting, finding it. You have to do the little tie thing and pull your dangle line out. I can pull my thing out with a magnetic carabiner and clip on that whatever I want to, including the lacing in the floor, and have that boat out before you have I can have the boat over before your flip dangles out.
Yeah. Rick, sorry. I'm going to agree with Zach here.
Zero chance.
You might, maybe Rick, you've practiced a lot with your dangles, and maybe you're really, really, really good with them, and maybe you can give Zach a run for his money. But
I'm at, like, if I'm getting stung by a bee or something, you might beat me. But I mean, I've seen a lot of people fumble with their flip dangles, so I'm not going to fall for that one. What? About
knots in the flip line
versus a loop. What does that mean?
Like they say, put a knot in the line. Like I have a knot. At the end of my,
yeah.
Because I have knots at the end of my flip line, because my flip line has got like figure 8s on each end, so I can just clip it to itself.
Yeah.
I don't do, like some people, to do the big huge loop.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. I don't do it anymore.
I don't do the big loop. But I have a knot on each end, and that knot makes it easier to grab for sure. Yeah, that's definitely true. And let's be honest, okay, wrapping the end of a rope around your hand once is not the end of the world if you got to do to get the boat over. Like that's not, it's not best practices, but if your hands are really cold, you got to do what you have to do.
I mean, when somebody says never wrap your hand a rope, it's that never and always thing. Like, no, we shouldn't do it. It's a bad idea. We should talk about not doing it, but like, it's maybe worse to run the Selway upside down for 10 miles than like wrap your hand around a rope real quick. Like it's a judgment call. Let's just let's say never wrap your hand around a rope, but if you never wrap your hand around a rope, but if you did it in a certain circumstance and had good judgment, yeah, it's not the end of the world. This is what I'm using now. You've probably seen this before, Aaron. And it just,
It's hard to hold on to those. Those are so small diameter.
Yeah,
my
if you
hands
clip
are
this
cold.
on.
When my hands
So
are cold.
Rick, this is the magnetic carabiner I use, so it's just like boom, on, done. But yeah, if you use this one long line, it's hard to hold on to. And the thing you were talking about was like, hold it like, pull like that, and you don't have to wrap your hand on.
Yeah.
But what I do, like you have 2 figure-8s tied at the ends. I leave mine clipped to both, and then I can just clip it onto anything, and then pull back on this.
Yeah.
And it's pretty powerful.
No, you've got that. You've got the way you have it. That makes it really nice because you can get your hand.
I mean, I just have it here. I just come on, I clip it on, I pull back, the thing's over. There is a loop attached to the boat that can fit your hand. It doesn't follow the clean line principle to a T, but it's, for me, I've seen a lot of boats not get flipped over in time. So I'm a big fan of flipping your boat over quickly. Like I want the quickest thing possible to get the boat back over.
See, I keep my flip line's half as long as yours about, and then I just have mine so you can clip it. I can clip it around the 2, and it's got a knot at each end. And so then I clip it, and it doesn't have the big loop in it, but it has a little knot at the end, which could chaw theoretically, but it's a lot shorter. So I don't know.
Everybody has their own way of doing it. I'm a big fan of this now. There's pros and cons. But I think a knot at the end is smart. I think some knots in there. And if you know you're on a 16-foot boat and you know your height and you have the knot at the right place for you, that's super smart. But what happens is if you have to jump on somebody else's boat, that knot's maybe in a weird place. Or you just tie one really quick. I'm not a big fan of leaving knots and ropes. So it's the Boy Scout in me. Like, I don't want to tie a knot and have it stay in there.
Oh, really? You don't have knots permanently tied in your bow lines?
I do. You mean to tie them onto the boats? But Aaron, I go around and move those once a year. Hey, if you leave them in there, they start getting sand in them and gritty. Like I retie those. I try to retie them once a year.
Really? Oh my God, that's awesome.
You don't?
No, because I don't own the company. I'm not saving any money by doing that, and they're not going to pay me more if I go do that. So no.
I pay guys to do it. I give them warehouse hours. Like, oh, you want
what did Heidi say?
Don't carry flip lines.
You
know what? I gotta tell you, in the classes we're teaching, because we've been talking about it so much in like videos and things we do, a lot of our people in our classes carry them now. They show up with them. So I'm seeing more and more. But it takes 3 people to flip a raft. I have a dangle mid-frame. Cool.
For the nerds, but I mean,
I really, really, really don't like dangles. I'm just like, please put them under boats, people. I just personally don't like them at all.
Well, I mean, Heidi, the question I would have for you too is if you can have people jump from another raft to help you flip a boat over, but in general, if you don't have enough people on your boat to flip your boat back over, usually you're going to end up pulling it to shore. I feel like that's what usually happens.
But on the Selway, they weren't going to pull that boat to shore.
They could have. It would have been miserable, but they could have. Yeah, I mean, better. I think they made the right decision trying to flip it in the middle of the current. So
depends where you're at for sure. I mean, it takes 3 average people to flip it over. I bet 2 of me can flip it over. Like being overweight really helps. Being tall and overweight is a big advantage.
That's nice.
Rescue the guide first. The rest will be safer if they have their guide. It could be tough to get the passengers down to the guide. Yep. It's just, I think the debate here is if that boat.
Would you rather lose a passenger or would you lose a guide?
I'm not gonna have that debate with you. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer. I mean, that's
I'm joking a little bit, but he's right. It's harder to get your trip down the river if you lose a guide.
I mean, as an outfitter, ask me that. I don't know. I've never had to think about this. I don't know the answer.
No.
Would I rather lose somebody who paid me to be there, or somebody who is my responsibility to take care of in every way? Like, man, that's it.
You can't answer that question.
No, but my worry here again is that one boat goes down, and then that boat has a problem, let's say it flips, you now have a lot of swimmers with no safety.
Well, I think that's why this stuff is so hard to discuss in this way, because it's so situation dependent. I think that's so great about the scenario, the video you showed, is because that's a spot, and you can talk about like, well, how is this one down? So are you really that concerned about people? You know, if a raft went down to go chase the guy down on that run that we're looking at, you're not really that way. They're not going to flip. We know they're not going to flip there. It's pretty mellow. It's like, okay, they might have a swimmer fall out, but no, that's not a problem. So they can go chase the swimmer down, make sure it's okay. And so I think that's a nice thing about scenarios, where the more realistic they are and the more you use a real scene, the better they work. When you try to like make it up, it never works well. Like, oh, bam, you're dead. There was a rattlesnake underneath that raft. You know, you're like, come on, man.
I mean,
you know, yeah.
I think, Mark had some good advice for me this year. Is just like set something up you've seen before, or just set something up. Don't always set it up with the exact solution in mind. Just set something up that's realistic. Don't try to trick people. Just like put swimmers where swimmers would go. Don't make this tricky. It'll unfold the way it'll unfold. You know, and I think this year I just set up a couple where I didn't think about it too much. The one with I told you about the raft stuck at the top of the class 4 raft and the guide went out. I set that up specifically to create the dilemma because I wanted to see how it was answered. But I started just setting up like, there's a swimmer over there, there's a raft flip over there. Let's just set one up that they figure out.
A couple more questions. Practice. There we go. That can be part of Swiftwater training.
I think it's worth
that can be part of Steve Welch's Swiftwater training. Have people practice jumping off rocks into rafts as they come by.
I think it's worth practicing for sure.
Because
it's harder than it. It's harder than it looks.
Is this sarcasm? Do you really want to? You think this isn't safe, Zach? Why are you going to practice something that isn't safe?
I think you get better. I mean, all the choices aren't safe. You have 3 choices: throw them a throw bag, have them swim a rapid, or jump in a moving boat. None of the 3 things are safe.
But hold on. Okay, I'm not going to practice juggling knives so I can get better at juggling knives.
Yeah, but you can jump in. You can jump in a moving boat in a controlled environment. You can do it like start easy, have nothing, like make sure there's nothing in there. You know, don't have like T grips everywhere.
Okay. You're going down my least favorite Swiftwater path of just silly skill work. That's like you pay way. I think there's way other places you could.
Hey, I'm just. It's not a bad idea, and I'm the one who's against jumping in a moving boat, so I don't want to just be a hater of jumping in a moving boat. If you think it's a skill that you want to do, practicing is probably a good thing. All right, Paul. What's up, Paul?
That's a good idea. Just
exactly.
More.
That's an easy thing. How fast I was. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You did really well, Paul. Do you remember that? We did it like 6 months ago.
You did, Rick. Yeah. You did a good job. But I will. Having said that, I will still say I think the other is faster. Yeah, you did a great job. And
Rick says you have to get your flip on it. Every PFD. I mean, it's right here. I just unzip this and I have it. It takes nothing. If it's an Astro green jacket, you're reaching over and it's the other pocket. You can get in trouble with the green jacket.
I mean, Rick, you have a point there. Like, I think you did a great job. He's right. He was fast with it. Now I'm remembering this. He was really good at it.
Oh, check this out. No, Rick, you were pretty fast. I would actually be afraid to race you now that I remember seeing that video. But the average person is not that fast. I've seen a lot of people really.
And I think the other thing that we'll come back to is Zach and I are definitely, I don't want to say minimalist, but not having more stuff and having a line that you can use as an anchor on you makes sense. And it's multi-purpose. And so I think that's the other thing that we look at it. You have it on you. If you need to jump to another raft, you can use it there on that other raft. Like it works a lot of places for you.
The boat anchor, a land anchor. It's a little leash for your boat. It does a lot of stuff.
The dangle lines are single purpose in general. I mean, they do help, I guess, as little bumpers for when you're in the eddy, so your boats don't, squeak at night or something. But I think the other thing that we have concerned about is lines on the outside of the boat on technical rivers. And I would say that's my other concern with the dangle lines is, like, I don't like to have a throw bag on the outside of my boat on rocky rivers because they just those bags will get ripped and stuff will come off, and then the line can be loose. And so I don't like lines. I don't like my bow line or stern line outside my boat either. I want to be able to see it all the time to know it's properly wrapped and isn't dragging. And so that's my concern with them. I think Zach makes the argument that I mean, I think you have an argument, Rick, that you can be as fast probably with that. Like you can be as fast as Zach for sure. But I think there's other reasons like why we choose the other one. So not to say
I
like
still think I'm faster, but yeah, you were
I'm
pretty.
going
You
to
were
say
fast,
this. I'm going
Rick.
to say this.
That was pretty. That was
Rick,
pretty
you
fast.
moved me from super negative on the dangle lines to like.
No, you should be super negative on dangle lines. Let me tell you a couple reasons why. First of all, no commercial companies run dangle lines.
Yeah, because the outfitters
Zero.
are too cheap to buy them.
That's not true. That's not why.
Yes, it's
That's not
cheap
why.
outfitters.
So
Go
I
ahead.
just like everybody who does this day in, day out doesn't use dangle lines. That's just to me something. Also, you can't roll your like for me, put-ins and takeouts. I'm all about efficiency. Like we have to all work together at put in and takeout so all the trips can put on. And so if I'm tying my dangle lines on a put in and untying them at takeout, that's just slowing everybody down who's using a shared ramp. And you're not rolling your dangle lines in your boats, right? Because then you have this thing that's going to mold inside your boats. So if you have a trailer, if you always trailer your boat and you just throw it up on the trailer and drive away, sure, I guess. But I think for efficiency, loading and unloading, I think it's kind of weird. That's my opinion. Let me show you this. Mark gave me this. Oops. This is a palm thing they make for guides, and I've been playing with it. So in a green jacket, you could just shove this behind your green jacket right here. Or and a lot of PFDs, you can just go center and you can just reach in and pull it out and be ready to go. And so I saw Mark use it once. You can use it, and it's like a really quick throw bag. So I just pulled something over. So like it's a piece of webbing you have that could be a flip line if you had a carabiner attached, of course. I guess you could with this you could wrap it through and just pull on the two ends if you're in a hurry. But having this with you right behind your PFD is kind of nice. I've been playing with it a little bit.
Yeah, I worry about it falling out and losing it, and it's just not secured. I like things that are secured because like you're taking off your life jacket lunch, you're putting it back on. It's just another thing to remember, and you've got a lot of stuff going on. I like things to be in a permanent place where, like, I know they're going to be there when I need them. That always made me a little comfortable with that. Yeah.
It can live in your little pocket too. You can just zip it and get to it. But he had it right there, and he'd be like, "Bam!" I saw him one time throw it to a swimmer, and it unfurled right in front of the swimmer, and he pulled it in real quick.
And I'll say Mark does that, and he said it's worked for him. He hasn't lost it, and I totally respect it, and I respect people who choose to do that. I don't think it just makes me. I just like, I don't know, like everything's secure. Like I want to know, like it's not going to just disappear or come unwound or.
See, I think as a multi-day guide, you just want your life jacket, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off all day long. As a single day guide, you usually have 15 minutes while the safety talk's going to like fiddle with all your stuff, put all your things in. You're not taking your stuff off as much.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Yeah, I think that is part of it. I think there's another part though that like you want it secured. Like even if I were in a flip line around my waist, like when in Illinois, I used to wear a flip line around my waist. Now I've been converted that the pocket makes more sense than the flip line around my waist. But I put it on every morning and I take it off at camp at night and I'd be fine. And I don't mind doing those things on multi trips. It just seems like I don't want stuff that's just going to fall out or I'm going to turn on back, where'd it go? And be like, oh, I took a swim and went through a hole. Now I don't have this line I need. Like I just.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm not going to do it.
I don't want things to come in. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. But if I want to be really fast, I would just shove this right here. Mm-hmm. And guides do this. And I can be really fast with the flip line. I'm a fan of this in a pocket. It's like it's easy to get to pocket. All right. Let's move on. I'm going to say I try to avoid the word never.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to say we just really shouldn't do it. It's something we should not do. Don't do it. Please don't do it. But if somebody did it in a certain circumstance, I'd be like, that worked. That worked out all right.
Just make sure you know all the other techniques to use before that and have them down and have been tried to make all that stuff work.
Because they could have done
we
this
talked about
thing.
Holding it so it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have done the other technique and it would have been fine. Steve, thanks for being a member. Appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, another member. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm working on more member videos too. I got some stuff coming out. I think it's important
Nice.
to take some calculator risks. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, training's big. I'm a big fan of training. Said you should make decisions that are not completely reckless.
No, you want to be like on the edge of the comfort zone, but in a place where you're not like, like just doing something silly. Like, oh yeah, let's go swim this classified rapid from the top that we've never seen before. Yeah.
Yeah. Rick, I remember we had this talk too, and I mean, yeah. Yeah. If you like him, cool.
I'm going to say this, Zach, I think what's interesting is I think Rick, your approach definitely works. And if your whole team and everyone you're boating with all have dangles on their boats, if everyone has dangles, I think that works really well. And I think
but he has a flip line too, so he's double covered.
Which is cool. But I think a lot of people don't. Like, he's double covered, but it's kind of annoying having both, I'd say, Rick. But then he talks about some people not having the lines. And I think there's variation here too, is that for the trips that Zach and I are mainly doing, either I'm in a paddle boat where I can flip it back over by myself for an oar paddle combo, or it's a gear boat that it's going to take more than 2 people to flip it back over. I'm going to have to get numerous people on it, and we're going to have to flip it over with a bunch of people. Like for me, it's like 6 or 8 people to flip it over. So it's like the dangles aren't useful in either of those situations. And I think that's one of the differences. Is the gear boats on commercial trips are so heavy that, like, if I had a light gear boat and it was a 2-person one, I could see the dangles making more sense. So I think it's the situation, but also the other part I'd say of the commercial is, like, a lot of trips we work, all the commercial guides have a flip line on them. So they can hop over and help, like, hey, I need help in flipping my boat. They hop over, they got their flip line on, they clip it on, and we go. Oh, we got a third person, yeah, they flip it on, they go. Or we can pull a guest over and they can help hold on to one of the flip lines with us and pull it over together. So I think there's systems that make sense. And I think it's like I said, if everyone in your group has the dangles, that makes sense to me. Like him having the flip line as well, you're doubled up, which is great. But I think that the problem is where some people have them, some people don't. You don't have an effective way to flip boats back over quickly. I think that's where it becomes a problem. Where some people do, some don't, and there's just not a system in place to work together.
Yeah, and the other thing I like about doing a show is with this debate, everybody can make up their own mind. Like Rick is like we've talked about the pros and cons. He's like, no, my way's awesome. I love it. So he's gonna do his way, and everybody else can be like, hey, maybe Zach's a complete idiot. I'm never gonna carry my own thing. I'm going flip dangles all the way, or like maybe there's something to the flip line thing. So I think we've laid out all the pros and cons that we know.
And Zach, I'll say I don't think Rick is unsafe going out with his dangle lines.
No, it's not unsafe.
Yeah, no. I think he seems like he has a good system that works for him. He's practiced it. He knows it works for him.
Nobody that's doing is, I would say, being unsafe. At least they have an option. I just don't think I don't like that option. It's just an option I don't like. Right? Like it doesn't. I think you made the point earlier that having this has a lot more uses than just reflipping boats. Like I have this on me. I can reflip boats and I can create anchors. I can like make a leash and just like quickly line my boat down something. It's a multi-purpose tool.
And my other argument is you have a line on the outside of your boat that you can't see and you don't know if it's properly attached. Is it loose dragging in the water? And I think that is another concern with the dangle lines.
Yeah, but they don't ever do that. Have you ever seen that happen?
I've seen that happen with throw bags.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen with dangles.
Well, I don't work with dangles. I don't run trips with people with dangles.
But I'm a connoisseur of dangles because on the river, when I see people with dangles, I'm like, nice dangles. And when I say connoisseur, I'm more of like, really, dangles?
Do you see them on technical rivers like on the Tuolumne?
No.
Okay.
Maybe occasional person.
But if someone was like, if you had dangles,
it's a multi-day gearboat thing.
If you had dangles on your gearboat on the Tuolumne first season, they would get ripped off at some point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Right.
But it's more of like a multi-day class 3 thing, right? Nobody's doing the South Fork of the salmon with dangles.
Big
like, it's just It's maybe somebody's doing the South Fork of the salmon with dangles, but they're on the Food LeFou, you're not gonna have dangles.
No. Well, it's also annoying for paddle boaters because it gets in the way. So,
all right, Peter. Opinions that can make feet warm in 40-degree water. Get a dry suit. Wear cotton socks. Not cotton socks. Wear wool socks.
And then wear booties over. I think booties keep your feet way warmer. They're not as good for traction, but if you're just someplace really cold, Booties are nice.
No, don't wear booties. I think part of the reason people's feet get cold is because they're tight in their shoe.
That's true.
And so if you do socks and wetsuit booties and then put them in your shoe, you're crammed in there and your feet can't move.
Oh, wait. Okay, Zach, I'm talking about different wetsuit booty. I'm talking about like the neoprene booties with the lug sole on them. Putting those.
I know what you're talking about.
So
but then when you shove it in your, you shove it in a shoe.
No, you don't put it in a shoe. I'm talking about
wear a shoe. How are you gonna walk on rocks?
No. Some of them are fine.
No,
like I do that. I'm gonna say this.
I am so against.
If it's really cold, Peter. If it's really cold, and I'm not really concerned about scouting, and I'm not concerned about rocking on rocks, and I'm mostly concerned about swimming and being warm.
If I'm not concerned of walking,
or rocks. If it's a sandy, big, high volume river where you're not really doing that stuff, then I like to have my synthetic socks. And then the wetsuit booties over the top of these.
Don't buy wetsuit booties for rafting.
Zach,
please don't.
The other thing I'm going to say here about the you're not a fan, huh?
No, let me tell you why.
They do a way better job of protecting your wetsuit booty feet too. I mean, your dry suit feet too. That's the other thing I like about them is you're less likely to get holes in the feet on your wetsuit, on your dry suit. Sorry, dry suit.
Just get the holes once in a while. And keep your feet warm and protected.
Then your feet get cold.
I'm gonna tell you what my personal experience. We teach the class 4 schools here in Hood River, and people show up with these booty things, and we're not just like walking on sandy beaches. We're portaging stuff, we're lining stuff, we're going up and down cliffs, and so the people with the booty shoes are always a danger to themselves. And they can't handle the boating, and so I'm shoes with traction are huge. Traction is so crucial.
I mean, I agree. And I think the other problem is that a lot of people try to use the same size shoe with their dry suit, and you need to go like a half size larger at least.
So, I mean, if you're going to go, I can handle personally, I can do wool socks and dry suit booties in a normal size shoe. That's like, okay. But I'd rather go half a size higher, like you're saying. But if I'm going to do the wetsuit booties on top of that, I got to go a full size bigger.
Well, but the other thing is, I like doing, if I'm using shoes, then I'll go neoprene sock, dry suit booty, wetsuit sock, like a thin wetsuit sock, one of those thin ones, those 0.5, and then my shoes over it. And I like that a lot because first of all, again, it protects my wetsuit socks so they don't get holes in them because I'm not rich like you, Zach, and have like 10 dry suits to just trade off. I have one dry suit and I want it to work for me.
I only have 3 dry suits.
No, that's not true. You've got more than 3.
No,
maybe 3 that you're using regularly, but
I have 3. I have 1 that got fixed today. It's done getting fixed. I have 3 that work right now, and none that don't work. I only have 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
But it's not because I'm rich; it's because I boat a lot. So I think we can agree to disagree. Everybody has a different ability for warm and cold, and it depends on tolerances you build. So for me, I spend a lot of time in cold water. 40-degree water doesn't even I don't even care. Like it's only 40 degrees. If it's 32 degrees, I start thinking about it. So I think number 1 is get yourself in cold water more. Like that's a great practice.
Yeah, Zach. I think okay.
Do cold
Zach's
climb.
just telling you toughen up and train. Just go start jumping.
Yeah, toughen up and train.
And you'll get tougher. One other thing, Zach, that I will say that
you're in Hawaii. Of course, you're wearing 5 pairs of socks.
Yeah, and I'll go back to when I used to live in Jackson, Wyoming in the winter when it was really cold. The thing that I noticed the best for keeping my feet warmer was putting more layers on my torso and my core.
That's for skiing, not boating.
But I think it helps. I think it helps with boating some too. I think sometimes. Yeah. I think sometimes with boating, people don't put enough on their core, and that'll help your extremities be warmer. Like it's a balance, but that's another way. Is put extra layers on that, and the layer on your head. Put the corky. What's that? The dorky little thing that I have on the photo here. What are those called?
I forget. Yeah, the little captain's helmet.
Skull cap. Put a skull cap on. Yeah. So I think all that stuff adds up too. All those details definitely add up. But
keep your body. You're saying keep your body warm, and your extremities will be better.
Yeah, it helps your extremities too.
But being able to move them is key. So if your toes are just jammed in, they're going to get cold. You need to move your toes every so often. So you have 2 options: 1, just toughen up, or 2, spend a bunch of money like Rich Aaron over here. Blue Puma asks, how often do you see dangles? It's often. Yeah, I see. Usually when you see dangles, there's a loose perimeter line right behind them. They go kind of hand in hand. Dry suits with Gore-Tex socks. That's what I said. Yeah. No, Todd, you got it. Hey,
yeah.
Todd, wetsuit booties and dry suits don't mix. IMO.
This
IMO
is
as
weird.
well.
I've been gone for 2 weeks, so now everyone's starting to agree with you.
No, I've had. Wait a minute.
I don't know, like the really good wetsuit booties. With
No,
the
this is
good, big
correct.
soles.
It's because
The
this
good
is
big
correct.
soles.
It's not because
The
you've been
good big
gone.
soles.
It's because it's correct.
Yeah.
I have done wool sock, neoprene socks. Yeah, I think if you don't have a dry suit, wool socks and neoprene socks and shoes are not bad.
Well, I think he's talking about this dry suit, right?
I don't think he is.
Hmm.
I think he's not. I think he doesn't. I think he's not doing dry suit.
Right. Look at that. Yes, I do think that's true, Peter. I think it does definitely helps.
Yeah,
You know,
it can't hurt. It definitely doesn't hurt.
I'll say, I mean, Wyoming like -30, and like this isn't in the water, but it definitely helped there. And I noticed a huge difference there when I did it there. And I was like every day out, I walked out every day, and like it makes a big difference keeping your core warm. So,
Michael, I think the problem with wading boots, and when you say wading boots, I'm guessing you mean like boots like this tall, is that when you swim, it's really hard to swim with wading boots on. It's really hard to like properly kick and move your feet quickly. And if they fill with water, you're not, some people say you'll sink, and maybe you'll sink, but you have all that mass of the boot plus the water. And to get proper kicking strokes when you swim is really hard. And so the wading boots really affect your ability to swim a lot.
And Michael, and I'll add on to this, is like that's the advantage of wetsuit booties, is they're so much better to swim in than shoes because there's so much less drag. So they're way better for swimming as well.
I mean, not way better.
They're
a little better. Not if you just
better.
get like, not if you just get simple on here, but like simple shoes, just like
no.
really
so
like little Astrals.
They're a lot heavier.
Barely.
Drag.
It's not like a wading boot, just barely worse. But you're right. The wetsuit booties would be slightly better to swim in, I think. But all the land-based stuff where you can get hurt is not worth it.
No, after all, and that's the thing, is like I said, never wetsuit booties if I know I'm having to do portages and scouting and stuff like that. No. But if it's something like I'm just going to go float on this river for the day and it's super cold out, and I'm going to like back the car to put in and take out right at a nice flat takeout, I'll wear my wetsuit booties. They're amazing.
No.
It's so nice.
No, don't do that. Don't listen to Aaron. All right, let's move on. We have more video to get through. This is I don't know what rapid is this, Aaron.
This is probably double drop again. Let's see.
Is that same rapid? This looks way bigger.
It is double drop again. Yeah, they're entering from the top. It looks like, because you work left here, and that's that rock you can see there. You want to kind of tuck behind.
Oh, it looks way bigger from this angle.
Yeah, well, this is probably higher water.
Oh, okay.
But maybe not. And then you see they're missing the big features down.
Oh, that's where the flip was. That hole right there.
It's actually getting kind of cleaned up right now. It's more of a wave.
Oh, so you could drive far right there, just cutting the eddy, or
this is really pretty high. Yeah. Oh, they're already upside down.
Flipped.
There's not much above here to flip in. That's not good. I mean,
this is where they maybe flipped up. This is what maybe we're talking about, is they maybe flipped up 2 miles ago and they just can't get the boat back over.
No. But Zach, it's class 2 above here for like 20 miles.
Okay, now they're trying to flip it. Maybe they flipped on purpose to practice.
That was a nice line down the left.
Yeah. Usually upside down boats do pretty well.
Yeah.
Looks like a fairly heavy boat.
Nice job.
A fairly heavy boat with 3 people flipping it over.
Yeah,
the kayak on the back doesn't help. No, that's cool. This section below here looks bigger than the other, like more bankful than the other one.
Yeah, I wonder where they flipped. There's not much above there. That is. All right, what do we got next?
You got more.
It's
all double drop. Is that where all the flips happen? Is double drop?
Yeah, double drop. I mean, Zach, a double drop, like we've been out there before at high water, and boats will go 20 miles downstream.
After double drop.
Yeah, after double. This one trip, they had 2 boats flip. Yeah, and they went, like way downstream. Like at least one of them went at least 20 miles, and then one went a little farther, a little less. I forget, but basically a commercial trip saw one of them, rode out and grabbed it and pulled it in. I think a Forest Service trip caught the other one. So
it's a nice looking boat.
This is interesting.
So good thing he has shoes on.
Yeah,
imagine having wetsuit booties right there. This is where you got to pull into these eddies. The pushing into eddies. That's so much harder.
This is double drop again.
Yeah, that looks. Looks pushy. Here's a comment. Somebody was on the trip. They flipped in a hole just upstream. Oh, it was on Mountain Buzz. MB is Mountain Buzz.
You know what? There is a big feature, but I mean, it's not much of a. It's not a rapid. It's just like
I have a bad feeling about this one guy for some reason.
Well, he's pushing to the right now, trying to go back.
That's no tough. Helmet, little tiny boat. Those oars.
He might get lucky, be far enough right. Just stay right, stay right, stay right. Oh, he might pull it off. Yeah, this is the classic. They kind of get like spun around and then they miss the hole.
Jeez, go into the eddy. Oh, here we go. Wow. So how do you flip in this rapid? Oh, like that. Oh, that's the worst feeling. Oh no, I think is that a 3D?
Oh, I think it is.
Oh man, that's a hard boat to paddle. Your roll needs to be solid if you're gonna paddle a 3D down the Selway. Man, seeing a couple kayak swims.
And
they're flipping, boil line. Swimming on the right there looks scary. It's like a big line. This is how it's.
Where are they flipping to? This guy's got a good entrance.
Yeah, this is that downstream ferry you're talking about.
Yeah. This is the classic line. I feel like
getting turned around though.
That's fine. Oh,
I lost an oar. That's not good. Get the oar back.
Oh boy.
Oh, I've never seen that. Where they fall out. I've never seen anybody fall out that way.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Get back in the boat. Here. He's trying to push a move he shouldn't have been pushing. Once again. Now pull over.
This is interesting. Get momentum right to left. This is an interesting move. We'll see how this goes.
He's got to keep that angle right there. It's going to want to turn him around. Oh, didn't keep his angle.
I think they're lucky the river's as high as it is. If it were lower, these features down here would be more flippy.
This doesn't look like it's going to end well. Oh, yes. Is that a Riken? It's a Riken.
Yeah, it looks like it, huh?
Okay, that's the end of that one.
It's a tough move to pull left to get left. You got to start high and pull really hard. Like you got to really get after it at high water. So.
Sure.
You got more comments?
I got one more video. It's kind of long, so we'll play the video as long as we want to, and then do the comments.
But there aren't many comments actually.
Okay.
So this is upstream. This is just upstream from double drop here, I believe.
Oh, this is you can flip here. Right? There's places to flip here.
I mean, you could, but it's wide open. Like you shouldn't be on you shouldn't really be out there if you're flipping up here.
That's there's people who put on the Selway all the time. On every river who shouldn't be there.
But that's Zach. My point is like, what's downstream? Like there's a reason people lose boats going 20 miles downstream because like that is so easy compared to what's downstream from here. What's downstream from here is incredibly hard in comparison.
Yeah, it means they got it over their heads. Right there, you could flip right there. That could have been where they flipped. That guy could have surfed that. That would have been a great place to surf.
Oh, how long is this video?
Oh, it's like 45 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know. No, it's not that long. But this is double drop right here, right? He could have flipped on that rock.
That's not double drop. No.
They're coming up around the corner.
Double drop is down here, yeah.
Yeah. He could have hit that rock sideways and flipped on that rock.
Zach, once again,
right there. See that wave right there? That could flip a boat. Especially if it surges just right. Look, there's a pour over hole right there. That's a no-brainer. Like this guy's not even going to make it. Look. That's where they probably flip, doing the same nonsense. This is either a mistake or an awesome surf. Yeah, he's just chilling. Like I'm surfing.
I'm realizing we're lucky there aren't more incidences on this Selway. Seeing all this footage.
Oh yes, it's a pretty sweet surf.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of saying, "Oh."
Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. Are those Sotar? Yeah, I think those are Sotar tubes. He's got a throwback. He's got a throwback on his waist. He's got a toothpick in like Bubba. See the
those are air tubes, Zach.
They are. That's
don't they have the little metal things on the end? The Sotars have those little metal things.
I think I can tell it's a Sotar by the tape around the chafe strip, but I think it's a Sotar. Do you see he had a toothpick in his mouth like Bubba?
Oh, really?
Yeah, check out the toothpick. That's pretty sweet. That was
There it
awesome.
goes.
His whole team edited out. That's how it's done.
Yeah. Wow.
He's like, follow me down the next rapid. I got this. See the toothpick? Maybe is that Bubba?
No, that's not Papa.
All right. He's got a GoPro mount, but no GoPro.
Well, he's got it on the back of his boat. Yeah.
See, this is the thing: is there's usually stuff to like in a flip or something. There's sometimes stuff to fix.
So like right down here, this is double drop is the next rapid, and that's what I mean. The people who flipped above it, like I was like, wow, that's.
It can happen. You know, you're chatting with somebody, not paying attention. All of a sudden, there's a tractor being pulling into a hole, right? It could happen.
Yeah, how do I say this? Dude, like you're just like this is so small compared to what's downstream. Like there's so much whitewater down there that that's like, you know, like if you flipped on Cherry Creek before you got to the confluence, like you're like, dude,
oh, that kayak in front of him just turned squirted. Kayakers here are kind of struggling.
yeah.
All right,
He's starting way right. He's starting way right.
He should not be pushing. That's my opinion. Why are you trying to push this?
He's in the cat. He can do anything in the cat.
Why are you pushing? At least he has angle now. Here we go. Right in the meat.
Yeah, nice.
You're right. He's in the cat. He can do whatever. He has one of those. I just noticed too on his PFD. He has one of those rescue tethers on. He wears the little thing. I don't know why Raptors wear those. You know what I'm talking about? His ring is attached to something so he can tow kayakers to shore.
So he's ready to do what is it called? Where you jump in and rescue people.
Yeah, but he only has like a 4-foot tether or whatever. He has a short tether.
He had a nice line through double drop, you know, in the cat. Like that was really a nice.
That was?
Well, I mean, it's smooth. He had a nice line through it, and I mean, whatever, man. It's a cat.
He didn't flip, so he had a nice line.
Well, I mean, he wasn't that close. He wasn't close to flipping either. It was a nice line through there, and like that's the thing.
He went in the exact place you're not supposed to go. That's not a nice line.
What do you mean? It's why is it the place you're not supposed to go if you stay up?
Because it's holes. Because we know people flip there.
Yeah, no, but he hit it straight. Like he's in a cat. Zach, do you avoid all the big waves on every rapid? Because
I do now. I'm very conservative now. I'm not 22-year-old Zach. Like that could flip me. I probably should not flip.
So do you surf waves and holes in your kayak still?
Yeah, I surf waves and holes in rafts, but not ones that can flip me.
But you could flip.
All right. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Not like on a wilderness trip like this. It looks cold out. You know, everybody's waiting for me. Flipping a kayak is different than flipping a raft, Aaron. Like I can flip back over. If this guy flips, everybody else pays the consequences because they have to help him.
Well, you may swim in your kayak if you flip over.
So if I may swim my kayak from surfing, I probably won't surf because I don't want. I mean, if it has to be a very low probability. I bet if that guy runs that line at double drop 10 times in a row, he flips twice.
Really?
He hit the meat of it. We've seen it flip rafts.
The rafts hit it sideways that flipped. They hit it sideways with no momentum, and their little rafts
Still,
really
cats
heavy.
can flip end over end. If it surges funny, he doesn't make it. It's possible. Yeah, he's in a hurry.
Maybe he's trying to get down to Wapoots. Wapoots is actually.
Are camps? Is he trying to get to a camp, or are they already picked?
No, you don't ever have to race for camps, Zach. There's only one launch per day.
So why is he racing?
He's trying to get in front of the other people in his group. He's probably trying to be like free front boat for Wapoots or something.
Oh, be the first boat down. Oh, there's a boat to flip. That's what it is. Oh, there you go. This guy's
Where'd that boat flip?
It double dropped probably because it ran that line I told you not to. Has this all been uninterrupted?
I don't think he flipped a double drop.
Where else would he have flipped?
Well, these guys, I mean, the lines they're taking.
Oh, yes. Wait, there was no.
He just started rowing hard, just like right up there. Do you think the guy just flipped?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's craziness.
This is where that was lead boat, which makes it hard. The boat that flipped looks like it was the lead boat.
This dude's getting after it, though. I mean, he's being proactive, and it seems like other people are just kind of watching.
Well, because they can't do much. They're in rafts. This guy's in a cataract, and he has a toothpick, so he's a good boater.
The cat.
Oh, there's the other cat
with 2 people in it, which is not. Once the cat gets low down with gear, though, it performs worse than a raft.
Yeah. I think some cat boaters would disagree with you, but yeah.
No, well, you can go through anything and it won't flip because it's so heavy and it's got. Yeah, I mean.
So what, Aaron? What are you gonna do here? What's the plan to get out of this situation? This flipped raft. What are we gonna do?
I pull it to shore because you're not gonna, like, if they can't flip it over right now, I'd get it to shore because Poots is around the corner and then Ladle's right after that.
Where are they gonna get it to shore? Just is this cat boat guy gonna push it to shore?
No.
Getting an upside down gearboat to shore is not a picnic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an athletic endeavor. Like over here, it's kind of slow on the left. I just kind of push it to the left shore and just kind of have it drag and hopefully catches up. It catches, and hopefully that guy's got, like, this is one of the places where I'll say at high water, sometimes I do like having a throw bag on the outside of the raft because you can take the throw bag on the outside of the raft and clip it on something. You can, or if you have your waist throw bag,
no way.
Clip it on something.
I'm not doing that here.
Yeah, and then you hop on shore and then you wrap it on a rock. I've done that.
They're letting him get in the lead again. Like, this is driving me crazy. Do not let that get out in front of that boat. That boat should not be first. Why are they all letting him pass?
There's a kayaker with him. It's okay.
That kayaker's in a playboat. They're all in playboats. That kayaker's not going to do anything. That kayaker's choice is to get out of his boat. What should happen? I'm going to tell you what I would do. The kayaker gets out of the boat and onto the raft for that dude. Catboat guy picks up the kayak. And now you have 2 people on that raft and you flip it over. I got to tell you,
knowing what's downstream, I would not do that, Zach.
Why?
I mean, they're going into Wapoots right now.
Like, they had a last half a mile to do this. I wouldn't do it now.
No, yeah.
Well, I can tell you one thing. They certainly should not have that flip boat running lead. Right? Like, this is, hey, bye, friend. See ya.
I mean, this is amazing that it's cool they put this footage up because you hear these stories, and I've heard these stories multiple times about boats, and about the going 20 miles downstream. And we're seeing one like this one has gone multiple miles downstream now. I mean, it's gone a good little ways downstream.
But they have to get out in front of this guy. I guess, I mean, they need to take care of their own safety first. So if he's heading out to, like, take care of, like, team boat spacing, and I mean, this is a good example of, it's a tough debate. Do you bomb down stuff kind of blind and create a bigger problem?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you regroup and run safely as a group? When your friend is on an upside down boat, just on a mission.
That's a good point.
What would you do? Oh, there's the boat stuck in a rock. Oh, that's cool. You got stuck on. Oh, the guy's off it now. Where's the guy who fell off it? Hopefully he's not swimming downstream ahead of everybody. That person on the upside down boat really scares me because he's gonna probably fall off and he's still on the boat. Okay. All right. But like if that the what?
He's rafting it. He's making it down.
He's holding on.
Just worrying about boots. This is the problem down here is like getting that boat to shore. It's going to be challenging.
There's no. I mean, I think this is where having practice pushing gearboats to shore helps. I can just tell you, you're not getting it to shore at any of these places.
They could get it to, if someone up there got it way up there and grabbed it and they pulled to river right, there's a huge eddy on river right they could get it into. But they would have to be starting to work now.
This video is awesome. I didn't even know. I just watched the first minute of it. Like, oh, this will be fun to watch. I didn't realize it was a.
That guy's climbing back onto the boat again.
He tried to flip it, probably. Did you think he tried to flip it and fell off?
No, I don't.
He just fell off.
I think he just fell off. Yeah. Those
kayakers are just in playboats too. This is where.
And they're entering. They're basically right around the corner. Right there is the entrance to Ladle.
Is this hard right water here?
Ladle.
Is this high?
It's not too high. I thought it was higher than it was. It's not as high as I thought it was.
It's like an average flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan has a good comment.
Yeah.
I mean, would you just jump off the boat and swim to shore and be like, if you're that guy in that boat, Would you stay on the boat or swim to shore?
Yeah, I'd probably go to shore. I would have done something else beforehand to get my boat. Like I think I would have, like I said, like got the bow line undone or something, and as I got close to shore, tried to slow it down. And yeah,
I mean, it's $10,000 worth of stuff.
Mm.
I really don't like him being the lead on that upside down boat. Like that's right now I have anxiety watching this because I have an upside down boat with a person on it running first with 2 play boaters.
You're right. It is. Those are Sotar tubes, huh? Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Just the little like the gray.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
accent.
John was asking why. Can anyone say why there's only one launch per day on the Selway? Because they didn't want to be the middle fork. They wanted to be different.
Oh, burn.
Yeah. Psst. Well, they did. They wanted to keep it really remote wilderness. The Selway Bitterroot is like one of the original, 1 million, the original 9 million acres of wild and scene of wilderness. And so they want to keep it really pristine with minimal people out there. And they've made those decisions over the years with the Selway. So
I want to go back.
You can pre or post launch dates. You can go whenever. So then more people can go.
Yeah. The Illinois has a similar management plan. When they wrote the management plan for the Illinois, they used the Selway as an example.
Really?
Let's try to have fewer groups, although private's kind of unregulated. But they did it. They used Selway as an example.
But the Illinois doesn't have the problem with the private that the Selway would. The Selway would be a mess if they did.
Yeah, with unlimited privates, it would be a mess. Yeah. So this is where I just want to bring up.
They're just running ladle.
Because that's the thing is, and now everybody has a lot of anxiety. They're not paying attention. This is when.
I mean, I'll say, Zach, we scout this every time just because it changes at every flow, and it's never the same line that works best, and it's tricky.
Like, look, they're already having boat space because they're just like they're not thinking because their friend is on an upside down boat ahead of them. Luckily, they're on cats. We've proven that this cat can do anything.
No, I think this is seems like actually a pretty forgiving water level.
Like I still have his toothpick in. Do we? I wonder if we see what happens. Is there like an?
Well, it's going to just keep going. I mean, Zach, it gets more continuous down around the corner. Like there's less space between rapids now than above ladle. So, yeah, this is full on.
I think. Would you just tell him, hey, jump off, swim to shore, let your boat go?
I don't know. I was thinking about it a little bit. It's like, he keeps getting back up on top of that raft. He's pretty secure on top of that raft. He's pretty safe on top of the raft.
But when's it going to stop?
Well, they need to get the raft to shore at some point or flip it over. They got to figure out something. So, swimming to shore in some ways is more of a mess because then he's got to ride on another boat. It doesn't like they have a lot of good places for him to ride on other boats.
There's other rafts.
If he swims to shore on river left, he's hosed. He can't just hike. If he's on river right, he can hike down the trail.
Where is he? Is he telling him to pull over? Okay, so there's some comments we can catch up with. I'm sure Charles maybe knows what happened. There's 2 on the raft. The girl swam to shore, and an old dude was supping. Stand up. That's smart. The Selway 7 feet, I think. So somebody was stand up paddleboarding? Huh. I'm going to flip double drop. They were in 2 ground.
This is not 7 feet on the Selway.
They were in first group before second group with toothpick dude.
If this was 7 feet on the Selway, it would be bank full. You wouldn't see any where the vegetation stops on left.
Yeah.
On the left side of the river, it would be that full. This is not 7 feet. Yeah.
How do you suggesting carrying a paddle? I mean, I've heard of people tying a paddle underneath their boat. I just don't think you're going to paddle the upside. You're not going to paddle the upside down gear boat to an eddy. That's just here. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's too heavy.
Heidi, I like doing that on a cataract where I can have.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
The cataract that works well. Yeah.
And you can tie it on the frame on the upside down, and it's there. But an upside down gear boat, you're just not going to.
The gear boat doesn't work nearly as well, but the cat does because you sit down in the middle of it and you can kind of paddle off the front, and it works pretty well.
His balance untied, I think. Oh, he's taking the passenger.
Oh, is this the?
Oh, this might be the. Oh, this is supper. Oh, so I think he got off. He did swim to shore. He's like, I'm out. Let's hope that's what happened. So this guy was standing up paddleboard. I think I know what happened. This guy was standing up paddleboarding. He jumped on the upside down boat to try to help it. And then after ladle, he was just like, all right, I'm done being first boat.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those Astral green jackets are probably not fun to swim in.
He did a good job. That dude did a good job. Keep hanging up on top of the boat.
So now they're a group. They're back together as a team. Life is good.
Yeah, this is definitely not 7 feet. That thing on the left side of the river, that's a huge hole. It's like 6 feet, or just under 6 feet above. It's like, that's a massive hole over there on the left side of the river. This is not that high. Yeah, this is way lower.
Charles, this sup guy, you're saying he was stand-up paddleboarding, but he got off a stand-up paddleboard to sit in a raft? I don't understand.
Is that raft upstream of them or downstream of them?
Oh, I think it's gone. I think they let it go. I think they made that decision to just like, you know what, that raft's gone. We're not guys. We're not having fajitas tonight. But guess what? We have plenty of pancake mix. We'll just do pancakes tonight again. Like they lost whatever's on that raft. And right, it just where's it going to stop? Lewiston?
It'll stop down at the confluence with the lock saw down there. It slows down, some will grab it. You know, rafts usually get eddied out someplace. They get pushed ashore someplace. Below Wolf Creek, it flattens out a lot. There's more eddies, and it's more likely to get caught in an eddy down there. There's a lot more slow water. Selway Falls, yeah.
He's riding with her to Moose Juice. Oh, got it. Where was his sup? Did he like tie his sup up? Did he just like he was supping and then he like because yeah, maybe his sup was usually when people do that they tie their sup on the back, but I didn't see it. Anyway,
I'd say this is probably 4 feet, 5 feet, 4 feet. 4 feet.
Well, I think we should shut this show down. Aaron, what do you think? You feeling like
Sounds good.
Did a good?
That was a good show.
I want to.
I kind of see what happens if they find the raft. I want to see what happens if they find the raft. So
they don't find the raft.
How much longer does this video go?
Let me look. Let's see. It's 1919. We have 4 minutes. We can do 4 minutes to do a close down talk while we continue to watch and see if they find the raft.
Yeah.
I while we're doing closing, I just want to have one. I had this epiphany while we were talking this show. I think one thing we should do more of, and we did I think we did a good job of this show. I'm going to pat us on the back here, Aaron. Is like have these safety rescue debates, right? Like just talking more and more about some of the dilemmas, some of the challenges. I think is a good way for us to share some thoughts about considerations during a rescue. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fun. I think it's enjoyable. Yeah.
It's kind of what we've always done. I think we always, we watch people have major fails and then we comment on them. We've always done it, but I think if a long-term goal is to help people be better at rescue, us sharing our opinions, which are entitled and naive, at least can stir some debate. And not that we're always right or have the answers, but I think that we can have the debate and then other people can make up their own minds about how they would handle something, or whether or not they want to have flip dangles or have a mustache like Magnum PI, whatever they want to do. I mean, that's really wasn't Magnum PI filmed in Hawaii?
Yeah, actually, I got a couple comments from people walking around here. Nice Magnum mustache.
It's a very Magnum PI mustache. Do other people in Hawaii have that mustache?
No,
I'm
Magnum PI. It. Now you're making me want to keep it. When you call it a Magnum PI mustache, then I'm like, oh yeah.
I think. That's a good one. I mean, I think I can get used to it, but at first it's kind of creepy. But I think I can get used to it. Anyway, I just want to share that's something I thought of. Like, I think you and I talk about rescue a lot and how people don't actually learn to rescue in Swiftwater rescue classes. They just learn other skills that are some they learn great skills, but sometimes the nuts and bolts of actual rescues sometimes don't get covered. And so it's fun to talk about this stuff with you and have these debates. And I hope everybody realizes that we recognize that we're entitled and naive and mediocre and all those things. And we're just doing our best to share our opinions based on experience. And maybe they help. If they help and entertained, awesome. If you think we're morons, like, I'm okay with that. We're just doing the best we can. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds good. I think, yeah, but yeah, I think it's nice to have these conversations. I think it's nice to get people's feedback too. Like, like I was really against, I'll say the dangles.
I'm still against them.
And, now I'm not going to use them. I'll say I prefer the method I have, but I'm not going to look at them quite as negatively when I see them on the river as I used to. So it's changed my attitude about them. So I think that's
really?
one of the cool things too is, oh yeah.
Come on.
No, I mean, I think you're spending money on something you don't need, but like I'm not, it's not like, oh God, that's the worst thing in the world. I'm not going to put it in the category of a gear net or something of that nature.
Actually, I mean, Rick, I think Rick is one of the few people that I have mad respect on props for, because he used his very effectively. And it's like, all right, cool. You're right. You walk the walk.
Yeah.
The people I see with them, I don't think can access them that well, which is funny.
That's a whole other set of issues. It's like, yeah.
I do that show. Yeah. Thanks, Rick. I think I'm going to hear that. I think, and it's good for, I think Aaron and I would say, like, we're learning a lot by talking to each other and getting the comments. We're definitely like learning more. And so it helps all of us, hopefully, to have these discussions once a week. But it's funny. I do the live show on Tuesdays where I answer people's questions, and somebody asked me about cargo nets, why I don't like them. And I just had to do a monologue about why cargo nets are ridiculous. But it's, I got a lot of pushback. I started my monologue with we all love the things we learned on. We all had some mentor. We were all taught something, and we were brand new to boating. Whatever we learned is ingrained in us as the way to do it. And it's like dogs. When dogs were puppies, that their first 6 months, or kids probably too, I'm sure. I don't have kids, but Aaron, you probably can relate. Like when you're learning, the way you learn, it's just ingrained, and it's really hard to change the way you learn something and do something a different way. And so I really don't like cargo nets because I didn't learn with cargo nets. I look at them and be like, that's just, ridiculous. And so I'm going to try to have an open mind to cargo nets.
Maybe you need to start putting one on your trips, a cargo net on each trip. So guys can try out.
I try not to do dangerous things, so I'm not going to.
I think that there's a lot of in my mind, entrapment concerns with them, and like, like we can talk about that next week. About cargo.
We're not going to next week. I'm not going to be here next week, but I know. Sorry, you can do the show with Steve or Dougie or somebody. But the other thing is, my worry about cargo nets when you flip, is everything really in there?
I agree.
It's just like some people say no, they're really tight and they hold well, but come on, is your stuff really in there?
I bet it depends on how you use them, and yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, let's shut this down. I will say one more thing. Aaron, it's good to have you back. It's fun doing the show. Everybody who watches and pays attention and is engaged, thank you for your engagement. This is really fun for Aaron and I to do. We appreciate you guys. We have people to watch it. Well, it's not just the two of us talking and no audience. And we really appreciate all of the comments and just like the engagement. So thank you all for being part of the show. And I'll stop talking and let you take over and close this down, Aaron.
Well, if you guys haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. And of course, subscribe, because Zach's like, what self-worth is based on how many followers he has in Gear Garage, pretty much. Like nothing else matters but that. Like I hear about it on a daily basis. So please subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified anytime Zach puts anything new on Gear Garage. And that, isn't there something else that you can do to like become a member? What was the other? Isn't there something else? I've been so long since I've done this.
You can become a member, and you could, and I'll post special member only videos sometimes, and we'll do contests once in a while, which we needed to do a contest for one of these cups, but next time.
Next time. But it sounds like next week we may or may not be there next week. You'll have your Tuesday show next week, though. Yeah?
No Tuesday show.
Oh, no Tuesday show either. No. Okay, then. All right.
Well,
Zach, was fun to finally get back out here after being gone so long. I definitely missed it. And Yeah, thanks. I was worried I was going to lose my spot. That Doug or Steve were
Oh
going to
man,
sneak it
well,
in.
I
and
told
was gonna
Steve he's not that far away from his face being on the little,
oh yeah,
the little graphic. But you did forget one thing.
what's that?